Hi, and welcome to another week's Tips for AI Trailblazers. I'm Kathleen Perley, your host and founder and CEO of DemystifAI. In this week's episode, we're going to be focusing on one of my favorite new tools, which is Notebook LM. This is a really great tool, not only for faculty or students or researchers, but really for any business, because it centralizes a documentation source for research, whether that be on understanding your clients in a marketing and advertising agency and allowing a kind of a forum for new team members getting up to speed on a client, to helping you analyze your competition and understanding how they're selling and what their messaging is focusing on when it comes to kind of new customer acquisition. So we're going to get started. There's a lot to unpack this week, but I'm going to try to move fast. So Notebook LM is a tool that is developed by Google. This is being powered by Gemini, which makes me think, right, when I see some of the functionality within this, is that they're holding back some stuff, a little few secrets at Gemini, because this is really powerful, and I was really shocked at that power. So when you log in, this is still in an experimental phase, but when you log into Notebook LM, you actually will see some notebooks that you can explore, like you see here. I do recommend, if you're wanting to get a little bit more kind of hand-holding, starting with the introduction to Notebook LM. It is really useful and helpful. But if you're starting your own, you would simply just click new notebook, and you would be kind of prompted to a platform that looks like this. I went ahead and uploaded some source information, and it's super easy to do. So all you do is you click the source kind of plus sign, and you have the ability to upload sources kind of naturally through like a PDF or a document. You have the ability to sync it to your Google Drive. I am a Google Workspace girl, so I have tons of Google Docs and Google Slides, so that's really great. You do have the ability to pull in information or content as it pertains to leveraging website URLs. Now, I will say if some of the URLs have what I'll call an AI blocker or scraper on there, you won't be able to do that. You also have the ability to do YouTube videos. And last but not least, obviously, the old good-fashioned copy and paste commands do work in this Notebook LLM. So for this example, I actually used one of the presentations that I give in my AI tools class. This is the deck, and this is the deck where I focus on kind of the different platforms and what I'll call your foundational triad when it comes to AI models that most enterprises are using, which is either kind of Google Gemini, we have ChatGPT, obviously, and then obviously Claude's Anthropic. And so once you upload your documents, it may take a few minutes. And typically you get this kind of really quick kind of notebook guide where it will give you FAQs, study guides, briefing docs. So you simply just click the briefing doc and I'll go ahead and render these different notes. This one is a FAQ, and what's great about this is content that it's generating. You can copy and paste this into your favorite kind of AI writing tool if you want, or use this as a starting point to update website copy, things of that nature, or articles. This is going ahead and providing a brief overview of kind of what I present during this lecture, which is really great. So you have kind of all these different things. It also will provide you a free study guide and or quiz. So it gives you kind of a couple of the questions, it gives you an answer key, gives you some essay questions that could possibly asked, as well as a glossary of terms. This is really helpful as a faculty member when I'm trying to always constantly kind of like reiterate some of my questions so that they're not the same, as many of my students are still kind of in school with some of their peers that have already taken my course. So this adds a lot of layers in terms of making it a little bit easier in some of the faculty to kind of use this as a jumping off place to develop new questions, new ways about thinking about the material. But also as a EMBA full-time student, this is a great way to study and kind of use content and notes from your class that you're taking, that you're personally taking, uploading your notes to a Notebook LLM and having it develop study guide questions for you, things of that nature. So these are just a few ways that you can kind of interact with Notebook LLM. And the other nice thing is when you pull this guide back up, you'll see Maybe let's look at what are it gives you some suggested questions. So how do these AI models compare? What's really awesome is the fact that it actually will kind of answer your question, and you have the ability to save it as a note so that other people who are accessing this notebook can view it. Or you have these great kind of like sourcing. So it talks about ChatGPT and advanced data analysis. And when I click on that, it actually will pull up the slide that is referenced. So it kind of gives you that Perplexity feel, but with your own content, which is amazing. I know I'm working in one of my classes and I keep trying to like understand things, and my professor keeps saying, just focus on the slides and the information I'm giving you. Do not take outside knowledge from your past work experience. Suspend all existing knowledge and really focus on what I've been teaching you thus far. And this does a great job of that. One of the other interesting things that is really, really impressive on this tool is what is called this like kind of audio overview. And what it does is it almost creates this like deep dive conversation, like kind of podcast based on the content you produce. And it allows people to kind of understand and kind of like almost, if you think about it, right? Like if I was teaching this course on AI tools, what are my students saying in the hallway like 10 minutes later? And maybe what are some of the things that I'm missing? So it does take a few minutes to generate, which is why I've done this beforehand. But I'm going to go ahead.
Okay, so you sent us a ton of info about the big three AI models: Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude, and OpenAI's ChatGPT.
Right.
You're really trying to figure out what each one is good at, where they might stumble a bit, and then how they could shake things up in the business world.
Yeah.
You basically need like the quick and dirty rundown on what you're calling in your notes the foundation triad of enterprise AI.
That's a good way to put it.
And you have come to the right place.
I think that's us. What's really cool right now is that we're not just talking about one model that's dominating the AI world anymore. It's more like choosing a car. You've got your speedy sports cars. You got your reliable SUVs. They all have their strengths. Yeah. Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, they all bring something different to the table, which again is a win for companies that are looking for the right AI tool that fits their needs.
Yeah, it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation anymore.
Right.
So let's break it down.
So this is a great example, right? Like I actually really love that analogy of different types of car, right? Like the car I had in college is very different than the car I have now with a 5 and a 3.5-year-old, right? Like I don't want an expensive car. I want enough room to put all the sports gear for my kids, fit the car seats, and something that I know my kids may drop their snacks in, vomit in. And the same is kind of true with these different AI models, right? It's about picking the right AI model for your business based on the different use cases. So this is a great idea that I might start incorporating into the conversations in my presentations and trying to make this content more accessible for my students. Now, there's another great way to use AI. And before I go to that, one thing I want to note is that deep dive conversation is generated completely by artificial intelligence. So the script, the conversation, the voices, all of that is AI generated. And the ability for these two AI voices to be able to have a conversation that seems very human-like is really impressive when they're kind of like building off each other, interrupting in a way. It's really beautiful and really impressive from a technical perspective. Now, this is another way that I think is really interesting in terms of how you use AI. I had a former colleague who had a huge impact on me, Vanessa Ames. So if she's listening, shout out to Vanessa. I was a digital nerd through and through. And, one of the things that Vanessa taught me was the importance of brand. And when you asked her, like, how do you describe brand or what is a brand? She would tell us it's what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I think this is a great AI tool that actually allows you to almost get to that pretty organically. So what I did is we'll go to our notebook, and we're actually going to the Rice MBA program, where I'm a faculty member. And actually what I did here, and you can kind of see it has like a website kind of icon on the left-hand side. What I actually did is when you go to kind of plus, I actually did a website and I just copied and pasted in the URLs for the Rice MBA program and the Texas Macomb School of Business. And it created some information for me in terms of what are the different programs offered at Rice, which you can kind of annotate here, which is great. And if I go more full screen, it will give you my 5 different citations. And when you click on this, it will actually pull up the citation itself, which is amazing. But I also did another kind of deep dive conversation about the program. And as you see here, it's super easy. You can create these FAQs from that. But what I really want to see in here in terms of how it is a brand perceived outside of that, and maybe how does our competitors talk about their brand and how do they engage kind of their consumer audience to sell or to kind of commit or take action. So this is one where I kind of talk about the Rice MBA as well as the Texas Macomb School. And this will kind of pull information from both sites and kind of really figure out how each of the schools are selling this. So let's take a listen.
All right, let's talk Texas business schools. You know, those places that create future CEOs with a whole lot of Texan charm.
They definitely have a reputation.
And today we're diving into 2 huge GE names, UT Austin McCombs and Rice University's Jones Graduate School of Business.
2 heavy hitters, always at the top of those rankings. A real Texas showdown.
Exactly. So say you're a student, driven, ambitious, wants a world-class business education, but you're stuck between these 2 Texas titans. We're here to help you see past those rankings, really get the vibe of each program.
The personality of the school definitely matters.
Big time. First off, both McCombs and Rice, they've got it all. Undergrad, specialized masters, the famous MBA, even PhDs. They even take care of those seasoned professionals with executive education.
It's impressive the range of programs they offer. They really cover it all.
Totally. But it's not just about quantity, right? It's about how they support those different ambitions.
Absolutely. McCombs, for example, they're putting their money where their mouth is, literally. They invested $425 million into their brand new Mulva Hall.
Whoa, okay. That's not just like a new building, is it?
No way. It shows they're serious about staying ahead, about the future of business education. And their campus is already amazing. Princeton Review ranked them #1 for environment.
Wow, so picture this. You're on this buzzing campus, state-of-the-art facilities, but then you start thinking about life after graduation.
Of course, everyone wants to know about their career prospects. And McComb seems to really get that.
Oh, yeah. What makes you say that?
Their website, they have a whole section dedicated to recruiters and corporations. This is a big priority for them.
So they're not just handing you a degree and saying, good luck out there.
Not at all. More like they're your hype team, helping you network and land that dream job. And on top of that, their academic reputation is stellar. Accounting is their claim to.
So as you can see here, maybe there's some ideas that are already brewing for the Rice MBA program in terms of creating a section on the website that speaks specifically to recruiters and kind of that kind of connection between the students and what their life might look like post-graduation. So this just gives you an idea on why Notebook LM is such a great resource, not just for the researchers out there, but for really any business leader or student looking to expand how they learn and how they experiment and how they kind of advance their thinking. One final thought on this is once you create these amazing notebooks, you might say, how do I share them? Because that's where a lot of the value comes in. And so you do have the ability to share these notebooks with individuals. So you can share them as a view-only editor, similar features that you see in Google Drive or Google Docs, which is really nice, or you can copy a link. You do have the ability to kind of add some different light modes, dark modes, some settings from that perspective as well. And it's all integrated into your Google account. So I hope you have a new tool that you can kind of explore with and experiment with. And I'd love to hear any feedback on unique ways that you're using Notebook LM at your business or as a student or in your life. And next week, stay tuned because we are going to get rid of one of the most pesky things every business person hates, which is expense reports. So next week, join us to learn how you can use AI to take those pesky business reports and make them as simple as snapping a screenshot or a photo of your receipts.